Okay, so now for the last three on this worksheet, we need to do some things where we're, for the first couple where we're working backwards. So number 5 says if the surface area of a sphere is 48.3 square centimeters, find its diameter. So since they give us the surface area of a sphere, what we need to do is we need to set that equal to what we know the formula for the surface area of a sphere to be, and then solve for r. So in order to solve this for r, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to divide both sides by 4. So these 4's cancel over there. 48.3 divided by 4 comes out to be 12.075. So that equals pi r squared. Now I'm going to get rid of the pi by dividing both sides by pi. So that works out to be about 3.844, and that equals our radius squared. And then to find what the radius is, I need to take the square root of both sides, because the square root and the squared will cancel each other out. And so the radius comes out to be approximately 1.96 centimeters. So if we know the radius, then finding the diameter is pretty easy, because that's always 2 times the radius. So you take that and multiply it by 2, and I come up with an answer for 3.92 centimeters for my diameter. Okay, next one, again working backwards, it says this time if the volume of the sphere is 635 cubic centimeters, find its surface area. So we've got to work the volume down to figure out what the radius of the sphere is, and then use the radius of the sphere that we find to come up with the surface area. So since they tell us the volume of the sphere, I'm going to set that equal to the formula or the equation for the volume of the sphere, and then I'm going to work backwards from here. So first thing I will do is get rid of the fraction by multiplying by the reciprocal. So this 4 and this 4 cancel, so this 3 and this 3 cancel, and then 3 times 635 divided by 4 comes out to be 476.25, and that equals pi times the radius cubed. Now to get rid of the pi, I'm going to divide both sides by that, so that cancels over there. So that comes out to be 151.59, and that equals the radius cubed. Now to figure out what the radius is, instead of taking the square root, since this is to the 3rd power, I need to take the cube root of both sides. And if I do that, I get let's see, a radius of about 5.33 centimeters. So there's my radius. Now I'm going to use that to figure out what the surface area of the sphere is. So remember that our formula for the surface area of a sphere is 4 pi r squared. In this case, I know that my radius is 5.33, so all I have to do is, on my calculator, go 4 times pi times 5.33 squared. And when I do that, I get about 357 square centimeters, depending on how you round. And since they didn't tell us to leave pi in the answer or leave the exact answers or whatever, you could have left the pi in there if you wanted to, but this comes out to be pretty nice. Okay, last one then on this worksheet, this little word problem. It says lobster fishers in Maine often use spherical buoys to mark their lobster traps. Every year the buoys must be repainted. An average buoy has a 12-inch diameter. So we know the diameter is 12. And an average fisher has about 500 buoys. A quart of marine paint covers 175 square feet. How many quarts of paint do we probably need each year? Okay, so you have to be careful here, because the diameter that they gave us is inches, and the paint coverage is given in square feet. So what I'm going to do is, instead of using 12 inches,
I'm going to use 1 foot for the diameter, which means that the radius is going to be half of a foot, or 0.5 feet. So now I can use that to figure the surface area of one buoy using our surface area formula, pi, or 4 pi r squared. So 4 times pi times 0.5 squared. If I do that on a calculator, I get the area of each buoy is about, oh, what do you know, 3.14159. Let you figure out how that came out on your own. Square feet, okay? So each buoy has a surface area of 3.14159 square feet. Now, since I have 500 buoys, I have to take that and multiply it by 500. And when I do that, I find out that I have 1,500 and let's say 71 square feet of buoys that I need to cover with paint. So if each quart of paint covers about 175 square feet, I just take the square footage that I need to cover, divided by the amount that each quart covers. And what I get from that is that I need 9 quarts of paint altogether if I am a lobster fisherman in Maine. And I rounded that up a little bit, but you know, that's the way that goes. Okay? All right, so that's the end of that worksheet. When you have that all figured out, finished up, then please let me know and I will give you a practice test and you can start working on that.